Hey guys, welcome back. So unless you've been living under a rock, you know that obviously there have been huge changes going on in the world, and people mostly everywhere have been told to self-isolate, self-quarantine, and basically just protect themselves from what's been going on. So that said, I wanted to share with you guys books that I've pretty much put on my TBR as of late to help me kind of get through this. I wanted to share with you the books that I'm doing just to give you some suggestions, and then also possibly give you some suggestions on where to look. That way, if you are inside and you are going stir crazy and you want something to do and you're looking for something to read, hopefully you'll find these suggestions helpful. There's really not that many on here, mostly because I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have to account for in terms of being stuck inside. But yeah, let's just kind of dive into it. So I wanted to kind of describe to you the kind of books that I put on this list. They are mostly a combination of audiobooks and books that you can get as ebooks, mostly because I think that now more than ever it's especially important to have some kind of Kindle or electronic reading device. That way you're not having to go out and pick anything up, because as you guys know, we've been told to stay inside. And so I actually think that now is a perfect opportunity, if you don't have it already, to check out either the Audible Escape package for romance specific audiobooks, Audible subscription in general, or the Kindle Unlimited subscription, which you guys have heard me talk about before. No, this video is not sponsored, but I think now more than ever it's the perfect time to either try it out. I'm not sure if they have trials, or at least get it for a month, because you can cancel both of these programs or subscriptions anytime. And so even if you keep it for 30 days, you'll definitely get your money's worth. So that said, all of the books that I am about to go through are available either on Audible or as a Kindle, be it, I think most of them might be part of the Kindle Unlimited, but if they're not part of Kindle Unlimited, they're definitely available on Kindle for purchase. Now, as for the books, so first I want to talk about is an author and all of their works, which is Jessa. I actually just got put onto her earlier this month. I read one of her books. She does erotic novellas, and I'll be honest, I had no idea what the hell I was getting into. I didn't know anything about her. I was just in the mood for something short, and so I picked one of her books up and was very surprised, to say the least. But it's become kind of this weird trashy addiction that I've had. Trashy is probably a bad word, because that brings to mind a negative connotation, but she's definitely not for the faint of heart. I'll just leave it at that. So if you are into romance and you want something a lot spicier, definitely check her works out. Like I said, they're all available on Kindle Unlimited. I read about 5 or 6 of her books so far, so at the very least you've got 6 books to choose from. And yeah, they're quick little bites. I think having novellas during this time for something to read works out perfectly, because you can fit them in either in your work breaks if you're working from home like I am, or if you're just kind of all over the place and you don't really have the attention to focus on something longer, then you can go with her shorter form works. And speaking of shorter form works, that brings me to my next author, which is James Patterson, more specifically his book shots. I have read James Patterson as of late, and while I'm not super familiar with everything under the sun that he's ever written, I do know that he has book shots. Some of them are standalone short stories. The whole concept of a book shot is that obviously you can consume it in a very quick time because they're shorter, and other stories are standalone book shots, and so I'll probably go towards those. I don't think these are available on Kindle Unlimited, but they are available on Kindle for a very inexpensive price. I think I saw them for like either $1.99, $2.99, very cheap. So that way, if you do want something shorter that's not romance, you have him to choose from. Obviously, you guys know he usually writes like thrillers and crime fiction, so if you're into that, then check him out too. Okay, so continuing the shorter form work, so you guys are kind of seeing a pattern. I will say just what I'm doing, and maybe as a tip to you guys, I'm leaning really heavily into short stories, novellas, simply because just with everything that's going on, I just don't have the attention span to commit to a full-length book. And so these shorter books have been perfect for me to dive into. I still get, reading in, I'm still entertained, but I'm not kind of like bogged down and my mind's not wandering because I'm instead reading like a 350-page book. So in terms of short stories, let's talk about serials. And I don't typically read serials unless all of the books are already out, just simply because I like to binge read and I don't like cliffhangers. However, I've made an exception for my girl Whitney Gee. If you guys have seen my videos as of late, you know that I have this newfound obsession with her books. She is a romance author, and so she just actually came out with a new serial called The King of Lies. Maybe it's a trilogy. I know there's 2 books so far and there's a 3rd one coming out, but King of Lies, which is the first book, is out, and then there's Queen of Lies, which is the part 2. Both of those are available on Kindle Unlimited and I highly recommend them. So I'll just give you a quick recap on what it's about since it does deviate from her typical work. This is essentially a story about a woman who falls in love with a man and he keeps insisting that he is no good for her. He's a bad guy, but of course she's thinking that he's not being literal about it. He just doesn't want to commit, but in fact he is not really a not so nice guy. But he ends up developing feelings for her. I don't want to give too much away, but there is a huge conflict of interest. And I love the way that the book starts off from his point of view, because he straight up talks to you as a reader saying, this is not one of those stories that has a happy ending. I am not the kind of guy that's going to turn my life around and be with a woman. I am not a good guy. Like, he keeps insisting that, which I love, and I love that it's kind of like a cheeky nod, breaking the 3rd wall, because he is talking to the reader. And he continues to go on and show you how he's not a good guy, but obviously he does things that us as readers and tropes that we are familiar with that say otherwise. So definitely check those ones out. Like I said, they're serials, so they're short. They do end on a cliffhanger, obviously, but her writing is so good that it's worth checking out now, especially since you are stuck inside. Next up, continuing with the serials, we have Lauren Blakely's It's Always Been You serial, which is an Audible exclusive. So this one is only available on Audible, which naturally means you have to listen to it in audiobook format, but if you have an Audible subscription, then it's not an issue. She does contemporary romance, and this one is no different. So this one is essentially a second chance romance. It deals with a woman who needs to get back in touch with her ex who left her a long time ago, because they now need to work together in order for her to, I guess, succeed at her job or complete this assignment. And so naturally there's going to be some contention in the beginning, but I really love Lauren Blakely's writing, and so to have the idea of a serial in audio format, I think is really interesting. You're able to listen to it while you're doing other stuff, which I think works out perfectly and is especially helpful if you are just too all over the place to deal with sitting down and reading a physical book. Now, going back to Kindle and kind of physical books that are available to read, I wanted to flip the script a little bit and talk about cozy mysteries, because there are quite a few that are available on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. And in terms of Kindle Unlimited, I wanted to highlight Tanja Cappy's Camper Mysteries. I think that might be what it's called. Camper and Criminals. I wanted to highlight her Camper and Criminals Cozy Mysteries because this particular one is available on Kindle Unlimited, and I believe there are quite a few books in the series, and last time I checked, all of them are available on Kindle Unlimited, which works out perfectly if you have the subscription. I wanted to spotlight Cozy Mysteries in this time because I know that they are usually low stakes, and so if you're dealing with a lot of anxiety or you don't want anything triggering that you might find in like a darker thriller or something like that, then Cozy Mysteries are perfect. She is a very well-known cozy mystery author. She's very prolific and she has a lot of series under her belt, and so this one I think is especially interesting. I've never actually read a cozy mystery that takes place in campers, and with the popularity of like van living and everything, I'm really interested in reading this one, and so I'll for sure be at least checking out the first few in that since I've got so much time on my hands. And so if you like cozy mysteries or you want to read about something that is set in your non-traditional location, I would say, way, then these are what I would recommend. Okay, so last thing that I'll be reading are my Murder, She Wrote books. I know you guys have heard me talk about her all the time, or rather these series, but it's such a comforting read to me, just like how Harry Potter is to a lot of people. And so now is the time that I'll be dusting them off of my TBR shelf and kind of going through those again, just because I know what to expect and it's very comforting. And I feel like right now, with all of the uneasiness and uncertainty going on, that's exactly what I need. Now, I'm not necessarily recommending the Murder, She Wrote series to you guys, but what I am recommending are books that you find comforting. In fact, I had a video a little bit ago talking all about comfort reads and like the different types of books that you guys can kind of match to your personal library, and I think now is a perfect time to lean into those. Like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty going around, and I know cabin fever is a huge thing for people right now, and so anything that you can do to give you a peace of mind or a break from the outside world, lean into that. You know, it doesn't even have to necessarily be books, because this is a book channel. Obviously that's what I'm going to talk about, but you know, binge watch a new series, get the free trial of Disney Plus or something like that, pick up a new hobby, anything that can really just kind of keep you calm, keep you from going outside when not necessary, and just, you know, ride it out until things get better. So I hope you guys enjoyed kind of following along or listening to me ramble about my TBR. I'd love to know what you guys are reading, if you're reading anything, especially during this time. As always, I'm always up for chatting in the comments, so I've got more time than ever to do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did, if you want to see more content like that. In the meantime, happy reading, take care of yourself. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!